like old Larry right here.
All right, guys. We can fire away with that list.
Dwayne, I have sort of a specific question that doesn't necessarily pertain to week one, but it's more about your knowledge of the game. I know there's that video of you when you were young, and you said you had the football IQ of a 10th grader. How did you learn all that? Like, when did you first get introduced to that level of detail of the game?
I've been playing quarterback since I was 10 years old. So I'm 23 now, so I've been playing for 13 years. And from a young age, my father just took me to summer camps, training camps, 3-day weekend camps where kids were playing all summer, watching Scooby-Doo. I was in a 3-day, staying night in the dorm on a college campus, already practicing. So for me, just the biggest thing was my love for the game at a young age. Watching every NFL game I possibly could growing up. And just wanting to learn more about the position and the intricacies and in and outs of playing quarterback. So I wanted to know about coverages at 10, 13 years old. I wanted to know about blitz pickups and coverages and things of that nature at a young age, so that I'll be more prepared going into whatever I get into when I get older.
And how much did Ryan Day help with your development in that aspect?
Ryan Day was a great coach. I just think the biggest thing with coaches in the collegiate and NFL levels is to get you to understand conceptually what we're doing as far as how we're attacking the defense. When we call the play, when you hear the play call, you know that we're alerting this for cover 4, alert the post first quarters. If you get man coverage, you have this hot answer versus one fire where there's no hole player, or when it's zone coverage and it's cover 2, you can alert the seam opposite of the mic drop. So just different things that you get to just know as soon as a play's called that these are my 3 lists of what I'm looking for in this play, and I know my answers versus all of them. So that's just get an understanding of that.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey Dwayne, Ron was saying last week that he kind of knew the way to approach you this offseason was, like, the right way was to do it by challenging you. What is it about you that responds to being challenged? What about it motivates you so much?
It's kind of just being a man, just growing up this generation, and then just being raised with my family and my father. Just when your family, your friends, your teammates, your coaches need you the most, Coach Meyer always preached you give your very best. And whether that's in any situation, whether it's paying bills or playing football, when Coach Rivera called me and challenged me and said some things to me that I needed to hear, that's just something I just needed extra motivation for in this offseason, to go push myself to be that for him, for myself, and for my teammates. So him having talked to Coach Meyer challenged me numerous times in school, and I've risen to the occasion every time. So it's just something I had to take pride in, of being accountable and knowing that when someone asks me to do something, I'm going to do it the best that I can, and give it my all.
And then I was talking to one of the coaches you work with in the off season, and there's that thing where you were doing chess on the iPad, working with a chess pro.
Talking about
Just
Seth?
how do you think that? What?
Talking about Seth?
Yeah, I think so. It was like an iPad, and just how did that kind of help you, or maybe the mental aspect of helping things speed things along?
Yeah, I love chess. I've been playing chess for a long time now, and I learned how to play professionally, probably in college. Not professionally, but learning how to play like a professional, knowing how to castle, knowing how to do certain maneuvers to win in 8 or 10 moves, and just finding ways to think ahead of the person you're playing. It's like playing quarterback. You don't want to be in a position where you're caught reacting. You kind of just want to be able to anticipate what's going on, and just knowing that if I get this, like I said earlier, I know I have this to retaliate to or go to without having much thought or effort about it, just having it already trained in my head. So chess was an alternative for me to be able to ignite my processing and to think about ways and things to do things faster. So that's why I play chess.
Hey, Dwayne, it's probably a little hokey to ask a percentage question like this, but what percentage, how much more comfortable do you feel this year at this point going into week 1 than you did a year ago? Not just in terms of the on the field, but just everything that's kind of going on in your world going into week 1.
Well, I knew I wasn't going to play last year. It's funny because I was talking to John about this after practice today, and just saying going into the first week of me starting last year versus Buffalo compared to now, just The control of the offense, the energy that I feel I bring to practice is better, way better than it was last year. Just my demeanor overall, just me having more confidence in myself to go do what I have to do as this leader of this football team and this offense, and having coaches that believe in me, something that just propelled me to even have more confidence out there on the field. So just trying to find ways to make plays and win games, and I feel like we're doing a great job figuring out ways to make those things happen, and hopefully it comes out on the field Sunday.
And you mentioned Ron believing in you. I did want to ask you about that, not to compare per se to your relationship that you had with Jay Gruden or anybody else, but what does it mean to you right now to have this relationship with Ron? You said on Twitter the other day, you said, quote tweeted him and kind of said, hey, whatever you need to do, I can do. What does that mean to have that kind of support from him?
I just feel like as a player, when the coach wants the best out of you, and when your coach wants to push you, and I get that feeling from all my coaches here, and just having the ability to talk to Ron after a play, whether it's a good play or a bad play on the field, and knowing that Coach Rivera is going to tell me the good, bad, and the ugly, and I can trust in his opinion to get me better as a player, and with Coach Sampesi and Coach Turner, so just having those three guys, somebody who all three are stand-up guys and know the game, but also want to teach me something that I appreciate very much, and I want to make sure that I'm there every day, giving my best and being acceptable to coaching, and knowing that they're just trying to do that to get me better, and just being responsible to it all.
Is there anybody on the team you play chess with?
No, it's more so this off-season training thing, quarterbacks.
Sure. What are your expectations or hopes broadly for this season? For first year of a new system, what would you define success as?
Success. I feel like everybody wants to make that numerical. I don't think that's numerical for me. I think success for me is finding the good plays and the bad plays, where that's either making a touchdown, throwing a check down, or throwing out of bounds, not taking a sack. I think success for me is having a better touchdown to interception ratio than I did last year. Success for me is helping this team win more games than I did last year. Success for me is helping this team have a better overall demeanor, have more energy on the field. Success for me is just being able to find ways to lead and be a presence. So that's something that I'm just looking forward to doing and being quite successful at it, because I know that I can do it. I know my guys can do it. So I'm looking forward to leading these men.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Dwayne, I wanted to ask you, last year against the Eagles was kind of your breakout game in the pros. Went for 260, 2 touchdowns, played really well. Do you go back and look at that? Does that matter now, a year later?
It doesn't matter at all. That game last year was just me getting my feet, I would say, damp, not even wet, just me figuring out how to play from the get-go. I wish I played like that from the beginning of the season. Just not forcing the ball on the field, knowing when it's 3rd and 4, and take the 4-yard completion, even if it's not past the chains, for me to be able to make plays with my feet, calling plays in and out of the huddle. Just that whole game was just my first game where I felt confident out there. So trying to build on those last 2 games of the season where, not that it was easy, but it felt a lot more comfortable, way more smoother. And that's something I feel like I've been trying to improve on throughout training camp, and looking forward to playing Coach Swartz again this week and getting after their defense.
Ron said maybe 2 weeks ago that he was trying to keep Antonio Gibson kind of off the radar. You guys aren't playing any preseason games. Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like maybe your offense is coming into this game a little bit of a secret?
I think a lot of teams are actually, just because there's no preseason, there's no spring training camp or nothing like that. And I mean, we have guys that haven't even played for the Washington football team yet that's on our roster. There's no NFL film on them. So even trying to break down Philly, all the corners are gone. There's few players that are that you can really just look into. I mean, Jalen Mills is playing safety now, so it's hard to kind of analyze per se a scouting report. You just know the tendencies. So just trying to figure out a way to not get caught up into what we did last year when we played them, or what Carolina did when they played them a couple of years ago. So just playing the right plays, playing the right schemes, and just trusting what the install is, and trusting your original reads to get you in the right spot.
Thank you.
Hey, Dwayne. I was kind of wondering what those conversations this year have been like with Ron, not just those early ones that you were talking about, but all the way through and through camp and whatnot.
Conversation with Coach Rivera have been very just an opportunity for me to learn, an opportunity for me to hear from someone who's played in the NFL, who's been around great players, Coach Cam Newton, and knows what it looks like. So whenever I talk to Coach Rivera outside the field, it's always this catching up, but on the field it's always trying to figure out ways to be great, trying to figure out ways to get the guys going, trying to figure out ways to attack the defense, trying to figure out how to learn from my mistakes. So he does a great job of keeping me accountable, and I appreciate it for it.
What's he like? I mean, are these just casual conversations? Do they sit down somewhere, like in an office or something? What is it like? I mean, what's he like in those with you?
With coaches, you can catch him anywhere, at a dinner, at a restaurant, on the field, off the field, walking, down the hallway. So he's always the same. That's one thing I can say about Coach Rivera. He's always somebody that whenever you see him, he's always going to give you the same respect and give you an opportunity, whether it's for 5 seconds or for 15 minutes, to sit down and he'll give you his undivided attention. So I definitely appreciate that from Coach.
Thanks.
Hey, Dwayne, is there a message that all these coaches you mentioned, Ron, Ken Zampese, Scott Turner, is there one singular message they seem to be passing on to you more than any other?
Just the things we can control, like attitude, preparation, and effort. In our team meetings, we always start off the meeting with those 3 things, and knowing that if you can control your attitude and how you respond, that's going to ultimately give you a fighting chance to with anything in life. And then preparation, when you prepare and you do everything you're supposed to do for your opponent, for yourself, for your body, just knowing that you gave yourself opportunity to succeed because you prepared yourself. You had the right attitude, and then the effort, knowing that you have done those 2 things previously, and now all it takes is for you to just give it your all. And that's something that we're just kind of pushing that narrative every day, just knowing that we can control our attitude, we can control our preparation, we can control our effort, and ultimately that'll give us the best chance to win. So that's all we want.
And it seems like a major theme for you is making sure this off-season of hard work converts into real success. Is there any part of you that maybe has to guard against trying too hard, like you said, throwing the ball away instead of forcing it? Do you have to remind yourself, I want to be successful, but I also have to be smart about how badly I want to do that?
I mean, I don't have any per se goals going into a game. Like even when I was in school, I didn't think I was going to throw for 50 touchdowns. It just happened. So, just knowing that if I go in the game and the plays will come to me when they're supposed to be made, and I throw the checkdowns, I throw the screens, I throw the completions that are there, and then when it's time to throw the ball down the field, and Terry or whoever is down the field make the throw and make a pretty damn good throw, and that's what I look forward to doing all year.
Thank you.
Hey, Dwayne, it's Chris Russell here. Thanks again for doing this. I know you said last year's game in December against the Eagles doesn't really matter, and obviously I understand why. They added Darius Slay. When you have that familiarity in general with what kind of scheme they like to run and maybe their defensive line and what kind of pressure packages, does that help you a lot, especially considering there isn't, tape with some of the new players that they have from this preseason, or not really?
We played Slay last year in Detroit, so we kind of have an idea of how he wants to play Terry, and then having a lot of the same defensive linemen like Fletcher Cox, Brandon Ingram, Josh Sweat. He got the guy from Pittsburgh last year, so we know they're going to be disruptive up front. You know that they can get after the passer. That's something that you have to just know when playing Philly. And this is really trying to find those mismatches, whether it's a new corner or a new linebacker or a new safety, and getting Terry opportunities to get open, and finding ways with Coach Turner to scheme up those right concepts for us. And I think he's going to do a great job doing it.
We got time for a couple more.
Hey, Dwayne, Sam Fortier with the Washington Post. I wonder, as you went through training camp, how did your feel of Scott Turner's offense evolve? And by that, I don't mean knowing the plays like recall, but how did it feel like implementing it on the field? What did you learn about the offense?
I think when learning an NFL offense, it isn't about memorization, because then you get caught up into just memorizing how to call the play or memorizing the concept, but you have to be able to work the play and understand conceptually, this is my first, second, third read versus cover 2, this is my first, second, third read versus cover 3, this is my first, second read versus cover 4, my first, second, third read versus cover 2, cover 3, 1 fire, 2 fire, 2 invert, Philly, 0. Just a whole bunch of different things that can happen in one play. Where's my hot answer? Where's my 0 answer? and it happens within 0.05 of a second. And just knowing that when you're prepared for everything that it comes with the play. So when Scott calls a play and I hear this is a look, I get the matchup I want. I can alert him. If it's cover 2, I'm working this cover 3. I'm working this. Versus cover 4, I'm working this down here. Versus pressure, I have a hot answer here. Versus 0, I got my back. And it's just certain things that you have to be locked in on, because say like you didn't think versus play, I'll get cover 3. You get cover 3 and it's a pick 6. And it's just certain things that you have to understand and be fully dialed in on going into a game and going into a play, because every play, every situation matters. And I feel like Scott's done a great job just with me personally understanding that when I call this play, Dwayne, I want you to alert this. If it's not there, find your check down. Hey, this play I want you to throw here versus look. If you don't get this look, then play your normal progression how you would if it was training camp. And it's just certain things that just because it's like you have to have your offensive coordinator, quarterback coach be right-hand man essentially, because he's calling the play, I got to execute the play. If we're not on the same page, we don't look good as an offense. So trying to understand what Scott wants, and I think he even had me pretty figured out as far as what he wanted to call for me before he even got here. So I appreciate him having a great game plan for me.
And during that process, whether it's training
Last
camp
one.
or summer workouts, when did you kind of feel that like when did you feel like you got that sense of that offense?
I always like had a good feel for like how to play a play just because of just play football your whole life. But I think it really started clicking for me maybe week 2 or week 3 at training camp, because I was able to see the defense and know before I even get the ball that it's going here, and then knowing that if it's not there, I can react secondary to my other read or my other progression or my other check down without it being where's the running back, without getting sacked or I played my read, I thought it was this, it was something else, and now I'm stuck on here. Last year I would throw a pick, this year I move on, get a 10-yard completion. So it's just certain things like that that you just get a better understanding for in play.
John Kime, last one, hurry up.
All right, Dwayne, hey, what did it see for you to see Alex make the final roster, and how does he help you even just being out there as a player compared to last year just talking to you in the meeting room?
Yeah, I mean, Alex is just a great guy, and I just look at Alex and I just see somebody, not that I want to be like, but I understand that Alex is what it's supposed to be like for a pro, as far as how he handles his body, how he comes into a meeting room, how he's prepared with questions, how he's already ready for practice and what he's going to be working on in practice, has a game plan every day for what he needs for himself, and that's something that any player can look at and be like, that's how a professional athlete works. And just having him in my QB room and being able to bounce questions off of him, being able to ask him when you played the Saints years ago and then the championship, playoff championship game or whatever it was, it was 3rd and 3. What situation were you thinking of? In this situation, it's 4 quarters, 2 minutes left in the game. What were you looking for? What were you looking at? How are you playing it? And just having those ideas, and like something happened the other day, we were doing 2-minute drill, and he's saying if the guy's on line of scrimmage, you can get on line of scrimmage yourself as a quarterback. Get him over, take him off, move back to the shotgun, and like I never would have thought of that before. But for him to be able to just have all these, he's played football for so long, he knows certain things that can help him in a situation where like me, I'm still playing, still learning, where now I have an idea, Alex would handle it this way. If I get the situation, think back to what Alex said, and just having those situations like that, I feel like it helps me a lot. It's helped the other quarterbacks, and you've seen it help Pat Mahomes tremendously. So he's a great commodity to have in the room.
Thanks, Dwayne.